Good day, hi, and welcome. All right, about 1 o'clock. Okay, I'm moving along. Got my garden stuff all the way out there. Don't know if you guys can see it or not, but I'll be starting on that today. Oops, way over there, the big black spot. That's my tarp. But before I do that, I'm going to do my final push of very old, but these are the pucks. Got my seeds. Kind of grow everything. I need to take off my shirt. I already spilt water all over the place. Should have probably cleaned that one out, but yeah, there we go. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing right now. Oh my god, I got the whole floor dirty. Try not to be messy, and you spill water all over the place. I gotta grab the mop. Goal is just to basically get the water off the floor. Yeah. My bad. My bad. I'll just keep this here because I'm gonna keep doing it. Yarg. Anyway, is to get all my seeds that I'm going to plant for this year planted. Something I've done is every seed that I've planted, I've put 2020 on the package for the year, because these old seeds back here, whoop, like this one, I don't even know if they're still good. Some of the seeds didn't, some of these pucks might be too old to, oh yeah, don't forget about these guys. I just do a bunch at once. You got to be kind of fast with them, because once they take a little while to soften up, but once they soften up, it's like full size, nothing, full size. And you want to make sure they're adequate. And then I'm going to put them in here. Try not to electrocute myself off the toaster. And then I'll put them back in the basement. That one's just about right. So start with that one. Might have to start grabbing them by the handful. If you let them explode too much, then they get too big, right? And then like that was a little bit exploded, but not too much. Warm water, you can use hot water if you want. But just you have to let them cool before you put the seeds in there, or else you'll shock the seed and kill it. But lukewarm water or hot water seems to activate the expansion a lot quicker. You can do it in cold water, just it'll have to sit a couple of minutes longer. And then once they're full, then you can, or full size, you can just grab them like the handful like that, those ones. And you just pile them in nice in rows. And I believe this holds 78 some holds 72, 78, whatever it is they hold. And you get a couple of rows, and you just watch that. See, that was a little overexpanded there. It's a little bit too big. Not too bad though. These two are about perfect. Maybe that one could have went just a tad bit longer, but yeah, you do it like that, and then you grab a whole bunch more. I bought this whole box. There was 1,000 of them for put them right under. See, because they take a little bit to get wet. I bought 1,000 of them for $100. I don't know how long ago it was, the whole box. And these are getting a couple of years old. I think I bought these in 2010, 2011. So they do work well. Then I'll show you where my corn and all that's at. Getting low on the box anyway, so I guess I'll have to save up for another batch of them. Good to have as an emergency store anyway, so I'll go with that. Just make sure you get them all nice and wet. I'll get those all set up, and then I'll show you some of the other stuff I got going on. There we go. Alright, good day, hi, and welcome. Okay, so that's pretty dirty water, but I'm going to use that. I'm going to go pour that into my raised bed garden, or not raised bed garden, my compost. Peppers here. So I got lots of stuff to plant. Gotta get, I don't know if you guys can see the disaster of pails over there. I'm gonna put some stuff in there. I don't know if I'm gonna do it today. It's kind of cold. I might wait a week. So I got all these done. Okay. And I'm not gonna leave them on the counter here, but I'm gonna fill all these. That's all my pucks. So I'm now out of 1,000 pucks have now been used. Some of these might not be any more good, so hopefully most of them take. Most of them still are. The ones that are no good, that they come out duds, I grab them and I throw them into my composter. the raised beds and everything like that, basically the raised beds become not only the garden but the composter. So you're just kind of like with the hay on top and all that, you just stick everything underneath. We'll have a look at something here. I don't know how many years old this is now, but I had a little pot planter right there that it's all busted up that I put chives in a couple of years ago, and they come back every year. And I just want to show you, I took the whole clump of it, right, and here they are. So hopefully they'll grow into the side of the hill and they'll have fresh chives. I had another one that was out of a pail, but the pail rotted away, and I swear the chives would come back every spring. By the time the snow would melt, the chives would be about a foot long, and they're somewhere in the abyss over there. So I'm going to do that method. It works pretty good, which reminds me I have to grab something else. Scrap metal, maybe, if I get a truck in time, rather than throw that out at scrap metal. Not the traps, the traps are still good. But I saw, what did I see? Oh, Christine, this tractor runs itself. It's a funny tractor. It's gas powered. Maybe I'll get it running this summer if I have time. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. This is what the pucks, before you can get them in the ground, eventually you put them into stuff like this. You fill these up with good topsoil or whatever. And my dog. And then what you do is you transplant these. If you do it right, you don't have to bust them, and you can use them year after year. So you can keep upgrading so your plants can get bigger before you get them in the ground, so that they don't die before you get them into the ground. All right, so I'm going to get into, I'll just show you one more time. That's basically the Teepublic pucks. Made a nice disaster. Yeah, I wasn't supposed to do that. Got my steaks thawing out. That's my punishment for making a mess, because I will force myself to have steaks tonight. Tyrant. But if that's what it takes me to learn, then so be it. I mean, just saying. So my floor is kind of drying because I made a mess there. These things leak a little bit because these things are getting old. It's a good idea to have a couple of new ones each year and cycle them. Put dates on everything. I'm so bad for not doing that. But there we go. So I'm going to get all my seeds in there, and then I'll show you when I'm done. And we'll show you one last thing before I'm done. And I know it's kind of dark down here. Hang on. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll show you my corn. I don't know how well the corn's going to do this year. I'm going to try the Three Sisters thing, but you can see one there. So let's see if I get some light in here. Whoop, wrong light. There we go. So my corns are doing okay. I transplanted them from the pucks to these, just put some good topsoil that I had there, and I transplanted to these. And then once they outgrow these, and actually I thought some of my dud pucks were not going to work here, but they actually are. So some of them are coming up, but some of them are no good, so I'm going to just recycle those. I'm going to get those transplanted. Those are probably peas or something. These ones didn't work. You might be able to recycle them, but I just throw them back into the composter, and then, it's got nutrients in it, so yeah. So sometimes you just get duds. Some of them could be just the dud seeds, but whatever. So that's where I'm at, and then I can go outside and start assembling the big bad, well, call it a deer fence, call it a greenhouse, call it a raised bed garden fence, whatever we're going to do with that old carport garage. I'm going to start putting that together. I'd like to have at least everything ready to go by Friday, but it looks like more like next Sunday is May 2-4 weekend, the Queen's birthday. So somewhere around that time, maybe the 22nd, I'll put it in the garden rather than the 15th. It's just because, well, just to show you the temperature here, and then it's like 10 to 11 degrees today, and I mean, it's been like 4 or 5. It's been snowing. Yeah, I know in May it's been snowing. Thank God for global warming, right? No, it's been very cold, and the wind is still cold. We still have that Arctic wind, northeast wind coming in, and it's just cold. It's been like really cold for the past like 3 weeks, just cold. It's like it's normally warm by now. So that's why we don't put our gardens in early here in you know, parts of Canada, just because what we run into is that the frost will kill everything before it gets a chance to grow. So anyway, I'm gonna get those stuff planted, and I'll go from there. G'day, hi and welcome. Okay, so there's my stakes that I'm gonna punish myself for making a mess, which I have to clean up this mess. I got everything done. We'll come back to that in a second. Got all peppers in there. I got pumpkins, I got beans, and I got squashes. I got all kinds of squashes in there. Yeah, squashes. Got me my squashes. This is the water from the... oh, my rake just fell over. This is the water from my peat pellet pucks, so I'm just going to throw it in my composter because there's nutrients in there. Oh, that wind's cold. It's freaking cold out here all the time. Something that, again, look at things in stages, okay? Like, find a method of something that works, then improve upon it. Technology is going to be saving us in the future, I think. Going to do that. Get a little bit wetter in here. I'll leave this bucket upside down so it can dry. I'll turn that again. My poor rake's seen better days. It's one of many rakes. But anyway, if you could skip to the chase of doing a solar hydroponic year-round greenhouse, do that. Yeah, do that, because that'll make you, that'll do a lot for you. So I'm going to deal with these, fill these up, get those ready for transplanting. I'll get the lids on these, but you know, push them down, push nice and gentle. Put your seeds in the best you can. Sometimes they're a little bit resistancy to put down. You gotta be careful with the bean ones that you don't bust them all apart. The pepper ones are all in there, so I'll put my covers on. I'll put them in a shaded space for a night or two, and then I'm at that point now where the faster, you don't want things to come up too fast, because if they do, they come up too thin. You want them to root and then come up, so that way they don't just get these little twigs that come up and then they just burn the second the sun hits them. So you leave them in the dark area for a day or two, then slowly expose them. Like, say, like if you left them on a counter like this where they're not in the direct sunlight or whatever, with the lids on them, that might be perfect for about a couple of days or whatever. Get those squished down in here a little bit. I'll have to touch it up just before I put the lid on. And then so that's the rest of my pucks. I have no more pucks. This is the first time I've ever planted a garden with the concept that this might be the only food I see at the end of the year. So kind of a different kind of eerie kind of thought. But as I was planting everything, I'm like, as I'm putting in these seeds, I put in 3 seeds. One for myself, one for the Almighty, and one for Murphy, the weather lady. Yeah. And so if one of the 3 seeds take that, I'm good. But I'm like, as I'm planting, I'm like, man, the amount of people that are going to starve to death this year is going to be epically tragic. Or is it a travesty? Because now's the time to do something about it. So I may fail with that garden there. I mean, maybe the garden will do well and the deer will take it out, or a rabbit, or a groundhog or something. I'm hoping not, but I'll show you what the plan is. So hopefully I have this all done by Friday, at least by next week anyway. It'll be done. My days are so, it seems like I get up fairly early. I don't get up like super early, but I get up fairly early. It seems like my day's just starting, and it's like, oh, it's time to shut everything down and go do something else there that I got to do. And you know, like I've got a routine that's kind of like works out really quickly. It's very soft here, and I'm in my socks and sandals. That's proper attire. So that doesn't look like much, but that was manure. So it's going to take a while to kill off all this topsoil, the sod and everything. I'm going to have to dig most of it out, I guess. I wasn't looking forward to that because, but it's killing it. It shouldn't be too hard to remove it. If we can get a couple of really hot days, that'll kill everything underneath and it'll make it easy to remove. These are going to go up. I've got all the poles on the side of the ground there, or garage. And what I'm going to do is I'm only going to put them up maybe 1 level, maybe 2. I don't need to really walk in there. I just need to be able to get things come up and keep the deer out. That's really the only goal with it. So I don't need to resurrect a 30-foot car garage on this. but I've got lots, and they're the perfect size. And yeah, and also too, these trellises and trusses will be very good for the viney stuff. I thought I still had some gourds left, but apparently I don't. So, but it would have been cool because I could use that for gourds. They can make gourd birdhouses and stuff. But I got lots of squash. I will do the Three Sisters probably at the back end here with the corn, the pole bean, and the corn, pole bean, and squash at the back quarter here. And then as I go forward, the shorter stuff, I'll probably have onions in the front and maybe stuff like that. I might try to find another place for my onions and stuff like that too. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, where I'm going to plant everything. I know what needs to go where. Dad's probably going to put tomatoes in there. I was thinking cucumbers back there, but I could put the onions there. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. My brother was asking me about that, because even my brother's kind of nervous about this. So I told him, yeah, he could have it. Like these greenhouses, they're not the best. Glad I didn't pay full price. I got 2 of them for 150 bucks. They were normal $6.99 a piece, 700 bucks, and they were discontinued, and I got them. And I thought, well, maybe I'll put some stuff in here and put some what happens is when they shake, not only do the screws come out, but all the panels pop out. You can't keep them in, and once a panel pops out, it lets all the humidity out, and then everything burns in there. That's why I don't use it. But I'll give it to my brother because he's got tarps to put over, or clear plastic put over. So the 2 of us should be able to pick it. It's not very heavy. It's just to keep it together without it falling apart. 2 of us should be able to pick it up and bring it down to his place. And, you know, mikasa sukasa. I definitely don't want my sister-in-law and my brother and my nephew to be starving. So if he can get it set up, I can man it while he's at work. That's fine. Again, I'm now Farmer Reg. So, and to keep the deer out, I do have the electric fence. How am I doing for time here? Yeah, I'll show you. I told you guys on the other channel about the Project Noah with the boat, where I was in there where the old pig pen used to be. You can see some of the steel beams are still kind of up, and that fence that went around there, like that fence. So I got that fence, and there it is. Not that I didn't bleed and get scratched by briars and all kinds of painful stuff in there. I killed every one of them. I killed them all. Freaking briars. But I got it out. It was a pain in the ass, but there's about 40 feet of fence there. So I got this, and the height of it, just to show you, you can see on the back corner post there. So it's about 3.5, 4 feet, whatever it is. Yeah, we'll say 4 feet. So it's 4 feet high. Now, a deer can jump that no problem. Absolutely no problem. Heck, I could probably even put a nice little garden in here. That would be, because this is full of like pig and chicken manure. Yeah. Oh, I love how I get these ideas just as I'm going. But anyway, I'm in there and I'm pulling out the fence, right? And the second I pulled on the fence, there was a bunch of trees on it or whatever. I just, like strong back, weak mind, pull like bull, So I grab it. The second I pull on it, I don't know what made me say it out loud. It was just like a voice told me, say, Project Noah. And I pull it, and the second I look up, I'm looking at my boat, and then I looked up and I said, don't you even dare. But what the idea is to grow so much food that I can feed all my family. I mean, this is overly optimistic. I'm not going to be that successful because that's not how farming works. Farming is a generational thing that takes years and years to get. So I understand the realism of what I'm contemplating. But if I have stuff growing in there, maybe the cabbage, lettuce, and some other little stuff that doesn't require direct sun all the time, it might not grow. There might be too many pine trees there, but I could try some stuff in there. If I could have 8 by 30, the 2 raised beds, that might produce quite a bit as a buffer. So it won't be enough to feed everybody and save everybody's life. Basically, what I'm doing right now is what everybody needs to be doing while they're unemployed, is growing food. That's what you're going to need to do. So that's what Project Noah is for me, is just to kind of food security. So as I'm trying to grow stuff, if that fails, I'll be canning stuff. If that fails, the idea is to have at least a 2-year buffer of food for everybody, myself, my dad, and my brother, my sister, my nephew, and whatever. That's the goal. Will I be successful with no money coming in? Who knows, right? But you got to try. You got to try. There's the poles, So that's my next project, start kind of semi half-ass assembling. I'm going to have to get some nuts and bolts to put everything together. That fence will go around the car garage thing to keep the deer out, and then of course I have electric fence on top of that. So if the power goes out, at least I can still keep the animals out of the garden, and I can throw the tarp over it, so I should be able to put the garden in. I was going to try by Friday, but it's too cold, and I don't want to do all that work and then all of a sudden everything's dead, you know, but because of the frost or whatever. So that's what I'm working on. All right, so there we go.